Resident Evil Village has recently come out, and many people, both gamers as well as, oddly enough, the journalists, are actually enjoying it. But of course, they're trying to come up with whatever issues they can create, as well as everyone's failed politician has made a return to attack the game. Oh boy, here we go again. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have it better tomorrow. Recently, Resident Evil Village released, and it is being received very well. Fans of the Resident Evil franchise seem to really enjoy it, and surprisingly enough, game journalists actually seem to be on the same page. Typically, they want to push their activism into something and don't like what gamers typically like, but seems that this is different this time around. Resident Evil Village ships and sells over 3 million copies. This article is by a niche gamer and goes to show the popularity of this game and how well it's already starting to sell. Resident Evil Village ships and sells over 3 million copies worldwide, Capcom has announced in a new sales report. Resident Evil Village launched on May 7th on Windows PC via Steam, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Google Stadia. Google Stadia. What a joke. But it already seems like it's pretty good for a start, and that's a good sign, especially when gamers are enjoying it. Looks like it's pretty good, but of course, while a good thing starts up, well, it seems that the salt has to begin, because clowns on Twitter are salty. And, of course, the well-known failed politician, Brianna Wu, had something to say about this. One person stated, "Have you been diagnosed clinically insane yet, Wu? Don't worry, we all know she's insane." I mean, that's clearly obvious. It's Brianna Wu. So Brianna Wu had to say this. Ethan from Resident Evil Village is the kind of guy that loves Bitcoin and thinks women just aren't that interesting in computer science. Ethan voted for Ron Paul and thinks the Diversity Inclusion Committee at work is reverse racist. He's friends with HR, which is fortunate because 3 different women have filed complaints. They'll leave the company in the next year when they protect Ethan instead. Oh, God. Brianna Wu coming in here, just proving how insane and stupid she is, as per usual. This is nothing new from her. Ethan is a nice guy who doesn't like it when women wear makeup, but makes comments when they don't. Ethan feels the METOO movement has gone too far because he's been accused of it 7 times. Ethan likes David Matthews. Anyway, rooting for the witches to devour Ethan. Jesus. Oh, man. All I gotta ask is, where are the people with the white suits supposed to come in and take Brianna Wu to the Happy Hotel? Because she's been long overdue for this. I mean, I think everybody remembers when she went out and, said what she did about Pyra and Mithra. Going around spewing her activism as she always does, saying something stupid. She thought it was clever, and then, she got completely destroyed. And deleted both the posts. Don't worry, Brianna. We're not laughing with you. We're laughing at you. But, Polygon also had their own review, and this was actually quite a bit of a shocking one because you typically expect them to have a whole article rather than talking about a game, really more so just talking about, it needs to fit their standards, right? So Resident Evil Village is the perfect cocktail of horror and action, and both will get your blood pumping. Now, of course, Polygon is the place you typically go whenever you want to laugh because the reviews are so terrible. And, I mean, they're just abysmal reviews that aren't actually about the game, just about how they like to have their politics thrown into the game and basically try to ruin it for everybody else. It's basically what they always do. And, of course, when you get down to this part right here, of course, you can't expect them to have a good review because, like I said, it's Polygon, and they try to say that we're game journalists when, they're actually not. And it has to be about the Duke because, he's an overweight gentleman, but he's the one who actually helps you with your weapon upgrades and things of that sort. But, of course, they have to have a problem with him because, this is body shaming. That he hurts people because of his body type and that it's terrible. This is painful. Just this ridiculous stuff. So, this is what it had to say.
It's an enticing system that's unfortunately anchored to the game's worst character. The Duke is a boring, eye-rolling caricature of a fat person meant to cut through the tension of exploring all these dreary locales. Most rooms he sets up shop in are decorated or fitted to highlight how fat he is. His stomach pops out of his clothes, revealing a bulging, desaturated pouch. He's constantly spouting lines like, "To be hungry is to be alive." As if that weren't enough, hell, the defense upgrades come from finding and killing farm animals to turn them into meals for him, with his leftovers acting as my power-ups. As someone who struggled with their weight for most of their life, I found the Duke's portrayal a frustrating reminder that yes, people will see the overweight as a grotesque and slovenly. Despite my issues with the Duke, his wares and weapon upgrades forced me to put up with him. Each gun feels hefty, and while blowing a shotgun pellet through my enemy's head feels good, the aiming isn't so precise that it seems mechanical or easy.
Yeah, that's probably because they play the game on the easiest difficulty you could possibly have. Because they're not actually gamers, they're game journalists. So they always just try to play on the easiest difficulty and there's never a challenge. But, they never admit what difficulty they play on. But, I'll say this. That should probably be like a standard. That should probably be like a mandatory thing that they do on these reviews so that we'll actually know if it was really easy or not, but they don't want to do that because they don't want to get exposed as, not actually being gamers, which we all know they're not gamers. But that's not all, because there was also another article with another complaint as well that was out there, which is pretty comical, which is by The Gamer. Now, The Gamer also had an article previously before this, which I'll talk about in a second, but now the game's already out, so here is their complaint now saying that Resident Evil Village has an accessibility problem. Capcom could not even try to make Resident Evil Village accommodating. Now, you know what's pretty hilarious about this is that the first complaint, which was before the game ever came out by The Gamer, was this one. Ironically, they also said, Resident Evil Village's Duke represents a tired trope of fat shit. Resident Evil Village looks fascinating, but the Duke represents a tired trope of making fat people greedy or bad. See, here we go. So, you have Polygon doing that, which that's what they did in their review, and now you have this. So, they go on to say this about Resident Evil Village. My excitement when booting up Resident Evil Village was palpable. It was one of my most anticipated games of 2021, as I'm sure it was for many of you reading this. But it had a glaring problem right off the bat that left our sour aftertaste in my mouth that even a couple of hours in hasn't quite dissipated. There are no accessibility options in the menu. Zilch, that's unacceptable. And I'm not even kidding when I say this. They have an issue with the subtitles to the game. I'm not even kidding. Like, what was it? I think it was subtitles as well as colorblind. And, this article gets absolutely ridiculous. Look down here at this point. That's just to name a few of the choices from Ratchet & Clank. It's clear that accessibility is a huge point of concern for Sony and Insomniac together, and this has been evident for a while with The Last of Us Part 2 as a pioneer. Oh, pioneer, because, it fits all of their check marks. So, of course, Last of Us Part 2 is going to be on the pedestal. It is the high tier of what they love. Ugh. All right. Yeah, okay. Because Last of Us Part 2 was, so stunning and brave, as they say it was. God bless, that game was trash. Subtitles also don't specify who is speaking, completely missing the point altogether. For those hard of hearing or who are deaf, that means that they have to play a guessing game to figure out who is talking and when, which no doubt will get confusing. With accessibility settings, games tend to offer an option to toggle names of speakers, and some go as far as to have different colors depending on standing, faction, or the actual person themselves. It's also endemic of a larger problem in the game, which is the lack of captions, meaning that sections that rely heavily on ambient sounds to play into the horror aren't shown to those who can't hear, meaning they have no clue what's going on because there's nothing to tell them. You know, the funny thing about this is that these game journalists act like they know what's good for games. Yeah, you know, I'd like to see the stats that prove that this is a problem. Because apparently they seem to act like it's a problem. See, look, accessibility is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, it is. But rather than the game itself, it seems like, if anything, it's just about the activism to these game journalists. And that's what this continues to prove, is that these game journalists, yeah, they're not gamers. You know, they're just a bunch of activists that want to ruin what people enjoy. That's exactly what they do. And they want everything to live up to the standards of The Last of Us Part 2, because this is what they're always going to compare games to now. And I mean, it's nothing but a joke when they do this, because The Last of Us Part 2, that's a joke. It's a terrible game, and it's a joke. But now they're going to try to compare everything to that, which is absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you were new here, and make sure you were still subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord and Minds. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the news videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on both Discord and Minds. The links are in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.